Good morning, MAB Elementary. This is mental math for you snakes. I want to remind you as to how we do this. Mr. T is going to read you the story problem. You figure out what you need to do, pause the video, record your numbers on your piece of paper with your pencil, and then solve the problem. In the meanwhile, Mr. T is going to be solving the problem, and he'll put it on the whiteboard for you to see. And then you restart the video, check your work against Mr. T's work. If you got it right, give yourself a check. If you got it wrong, figure out why and fix it. Now, you can pause the video anytime you need to. So if you got it wrong and Mr. T, you're looking at Mr. T's solution, why don't you pause the video and figure it out? That's really important. That's the most important time, is when you make a mistake, is to figure out why, and that's when you learn. Mr. T is going to go on to the next problem, and you can just pick it up when you're ready to start the video again. Okay? All right. By the way, that picture in the back there is a painting Mrs. Terrio and I bought many years ago. It's in the French Quarter, very near the place that we live in New Orleans when we go down there. And we bought that before we owned a place to live in New Orleans, and when we were just visitors. So it was kind of a premonition of where we wanted to live, and someday we would be lucky enough to live there. And we're very fortunate to be able to live in the French Quarter, especially in the wintertime. So just as an aside, I know you've been seeing that picture here, and I thought you might be curious. So here we go. Hay fever season is here. So pardon the interruptions, but the pollen count is really high. If a pair of sandals cost $15, how many will 5 pairs of sandals cost? All right, so you record this. Remember, money is recorded a very special way. $15. For those of you who are doing decimals, you'll recognize the decimals. That's $15 and 0 cents, isn't it? It's a decimal. $15 each pair of sandals. But I've got 5 pairs of sandals, so I've got to take that $15 5 times. So 15 turns out to be the multiplication in my multiplication problem, and my multiplier is 5 units. 5 units times 0, 100 in the hundredths place, okay, is 0. 5 times 0 in the tenths place is 0. And you gotta put that decimal there so you know it's money. 5 units times 5 units in dollars is 25. And 20 units is 2 tens. That becomes my notation. 5 units times 110 is 5 tens, and 2 is 7. So my answer is $75. That's how we're going to do money whenever we have a money problem. So you need to, if you got it wrong, freeze the video and check it. And when you got it right, come back and we'll do a new problem. If you bought 7 boxes of chocolate bars that weighed 23 ounces each, how many ounces did all the boxes weigh? Somebody's lucky. Mr. Chi loves chocolate. If you bought 7 boxes of chocolate bars that weighed 23 ounces each, how many ounces of chocolate would you have? So freeze your video. Let's solve the problem. Each box has got 23 ounces in it. 23 ounces. And these guys, lucky that they were, got 7 boxes. So I've got to take that 23 ounces 7 times. Now be very careful. Record your units in the units place, tens in the tens place, all of the place values in line, so that when you do the math, your answer will be in the right place value places. Okay? So 3 units taken 7 unit times Again, your math facts. If you don't know your math facts, you're going to want to get out your finger charts to do these. Remember, we got to master our multiplication math facts. 3 units taken 7 unit times is 21 units. That's a 1 in the unit place, and 20 units is 2 tens. That's your notation. 2 tens taken 7 unit times is 14 tens, but I already had 2, so that's 16 tens. 6 in the tens place, 10 tens is 100. Exchange. These lucky characters have got 161 ounces of chocolate. They're going to be eating chocolate for a long time, lucky fellas and girls. So, freeze the video if you need to check that one, and I'm going to move on to the next problem. A baby whale drinks about 200 quarts of milk from its mother every day. How many quarts does a baby whale drink in a week? 200 quarts a day? How many quarts in a week? Freeze your video. So, we know the baby whale drinks 200 quarts a day, and you know by background knowledge that you already have that there's 7 days in a week. So if we want to know how many quarts of milk a baby whale drinks in a week, we have to take that 200 a day times 7 days in the week. 7 times 0, 0. 7 times 0, 0. 7 units times 200 is 14 hundredths. That's 4 in the hundred place. And 10 hundredths has to be, gotta be, exchanged for 1,000. And I can put that in mailbox there, can I? And that's gallons of milk. Baby whale drinks 1,400 gallons of milk every week. Wow. There are 3 basic groups in every ecosystem. We call ecosystems biomes in our classroom. They're the producers, they're the consumers, and they're the decomposers. And we've talked about that really, those of you who've had zoology, in the last major lesson in our zoology curriculum with Mr. Smith or Mr. T. And it's the interdependence of life. The consumers, the producers, and the decomposers are all interdependent and necessary for the continuation of life on the planet. That's just a little aside on science of zoology. Let me go back to our math problem. There are 3 basic groups in the ecosystem: the producers, the consumers, and the decomposers. In Jane's experiment, there are 9 consumers and 18 times as many producers. So how many plants are out there? For those of you who haven't had zoology, I'll give you a little bit more background. The producers, the primary producers of all food on the face of the earth are plants. Think about it. The plants, the herbivore, the plants produce basic nutrition. The herbivores consume the plants. The carnivores consume the herbivores. So the fundamental primary producers of nutrition substances on the face of the earth are the plants. So now, in a little bit of side on zoology, you know the producers are the plants. And so that's why this question is a little bit tricky, because they say, how many plants are there? If in Jane's experiment, there are 9 consumers and 18 times as many producers, plants. Freeze your video. I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. It says 18 times, so you think, oh, okay, so that's easy. 9 consumers and 18 times that many producers are the plants. Can I do that? I can, but I have a 2-digit multiplier now, and that's more complicated. We'll be doing that in some future mental maths, and you'll be doing it with checkerboard and the large bead frame. But that's the harder way to do it. So when you set up your problem, does it matter which number is the multiplicand and which number is the multiplier? No, because you're going to get a product just the same, and the product will be the right answer. So let's put that 18 producers up here, right? Okay, and there are 9 consumers. So if I multiply them, I'm sorry, they're 18 times the number of producers. 18 times more than the number of consumers. So now if I multiply 9 units times 8 units, I get 72 units. 70 units is 7 tens. That's my notation. 1 10 taken 9 times is 9, and I already had 7, so that's 16. So there are 18 times as many producers, so that means there's 162 producers or plants. And there are 9 consumers in her experiment. 162 plants. And we can transpose the multiplicand and the multiplier, and we'll still get the correct product. So that's it for Snakes Mental Math today. Hope you guys' brains are stronger. Mine sure is. And we'll see you again next week. I also want to recommend and remind you that we're going on in the incredible journey, and there's some really dramatic things that happen. So I hope you can be with us tomorrow. This is Mr. T signing out.